What was it?
Alice Through the Looking Glass.
Alice Through the Looking Glass. Okay. Well, if 1 out of 5 dudes is terrible and 5 out of 5 dudes is amazing, how many dudes would you give Alice Through the Looking Glass?
300 million.
300 in a million? Okay.
Wow.
That's
Well, we're going to put that below. She gives it 300 in a million
Yeah.
dudes.
really bums me out since I've shown you Star Wars.
How many dudes does Star Wars get?
0.
You're dead to me.
Wow.
That's right.
All right. Good night. Give me a kiss.
We reviewed the trailer already, so if you want to know who is in this movie, go back to our trailer and figure it out. We talk about it. We talk about all the beautiful actors and actresses and directors that are doing this movie. So now we're just going to talk about our reactions to this 2-hour and 23-minute spectacle of a movie. Paul?
Snorefest. Sorry, spectacle of a movie.
Hey, Erd,
What happened?
tell me about how many dudes you given this.
Empire Strikes Back is 5 out of 5.
Right. That's true.
Therefore, this movie gets a 2 out of 5.
2.
Yeah.
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. I mean,
Brutal.
it wasn't a waste of my time. 1 out of 5 is a waste of my time.
Right.
2 out of 5 is just like, I'm mildly entertained for 2.5 hours, but I could have done that on Reddit. I did not like that it was the same X-Men story we've had 3 times previous. And
Which
that
is?
story is, Magneto's a bad guy. Oh, I'm going to convince him to be a good guy. He's a good guy now. End of movie. His story for the first, 45 minutes, so good. So
Heart-wrenching.
emotional,
Yeah.
well acted. I loved that part.
Yeah.
But then it was just paint by numbers. Here we go! Magneto's going to make some bad choices and then redeem himself. The story arc of Magneto being bad and then turning good should have been a story arc over 3 films and not the same story arc repeated 3 times in the, we'll call them prequel series,
Right.
when it was actually already done in X-Men 2,
Yeah.
way back in
yeah,
the day.
this trope.
So this is the 4th time we've seen this.
This trope is very well worn, and if you think about X-Men as a metaphor for civil rights in the United States, and Magneto as Malcolm X, Malcolm X didn't always join up with Martin Luther King. Sometimes he's like, F you, Martin Luther King, I'm gonna go blow up some stuff. Doing it for a film is great. Having Magneto join forces and say, hey, let's give this a shot of all coming together is great. And then having him and be redemptive in the end is great, but that isn't always the story, and it never was the story.
Right.
And it would
don't
not-
keep doing it.
And it never was the source material either. I mean, Malcolm X never ultimately agreed with Martin Luther King.
The same in the comics for Magneto and Professor X. They were friends. They were working for the same cause for a very long time, and then down the road they had a small split in their belief system that grew into a chasm.
Yeah.
And what they're doing with these movies repeatedly is, we're the same chasm, we're the same. We're the same chasm, the same.
Yeah, and it's not ever that neat or easy.
No.
But this movie was very neat and easy.
Right. Jordan Reagan, my dearest friend and star of YouTube, how many dudes would you give this movie out of 5?
I give this movie 3.25 out of 5 dudes.
Okay, that's a solid 1.25 bigger than me.
I've loved X-Men my entire life, and I've only recently learned about all of the different social and cultural implications that it has for us and our society, Paul.
Okay.
The thing about it is this movie had Apocalypse in it, and one of my favorite story arcs...
Hold on. Did it have Apocalypse in it?
Yeah. It's really hard to say.
It had a version of Apocalypse.
The version did really suck, but
Yeah.
but it did have the Nemesis character, the all-powerful being that would literally, if you look up his Wikipedia article, it's like immortal, omnipresent, can learn anything in a second, lasers everywhere, can fashion his arm into a gun, can grow bigger whenever he wants.
Yeah.
So
Defeated by freshmen in high school at the Xavier School for the Gifted.
right. That's reasons why this wasn't a better movie, but it had Apocalypse in it. It had the Four Horsemen in it. You had a cameo from Blob, although he was just being wheeled out. That could have been so much better.
It could have been, but it was still pretty cool.
You have Nightcrawler, who I've always loved him in movies.
I loved this Nightcrawler.
And he was great. Yeah, he was kind of a younger Nightcrawler, and
I was actually really good with. I was solid with this Scott Summers.
oh yeah,
Not
sure.
bad. Havoc. His death was the dumbest in any of the X-Men movies. They didn't even show him die. It was dumb. The Quicksilver
Maybe
scene
he's not
was
dead.
cool.
Maybe he's not dead.
I guess that's possible. But the Quicksilver scene was cool. It felt a little out of place. Like it was like, everyone loved the Quicksilver scene in the last movie. Let's do another one. And then it was like, I got everyone out probably. Is what he says when they're outside and they're like, "Where's my brother?"
He was closest to the blast. Oh
Yeah.
no, he is dead.
Yeah. That's all it was. He didn't show it at all.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
So, I just like that Havoc is like Cyclops 2.0 because he can shoot death out of his butthole and his chest.
Did it come out of his butthole?
No, I made that up.
Like a jet engine?
He can fly in the air with it.
Yeah. And you know what? I really didn't like the costume of Apocalypse. The way they did
It was
prosthetics.
stupid.
Very dumb.
It was dumb.
Did you see the picture of like the company that was bidding to do
No.
the practical effects that company put out as their audition was far better and truer to the source material
Yeah.
and should have been used instead of whatever they used. Their design.
Who's making
Or
these
their bid.
decisions?
Apocalypse has to
Don't
look
know.
like the X-Men arcade video game Apocalypse. Right?
Yeah.
He
Yes.
does. He has to. Because if you're going to reference the 90s cartoons so much, then you have to be true in all ways. You can't just like dabble it in every once in a while.
He's not recognizable.
Someone commented to me, and I agree with this. Apocalypse looked best right when he woke up and was walking around in the desert area. When he was like mostly covered, and you could kind of not tell that he was like a big blue dude.
Yeah.
That's when he looked like kind of interesting and cool. And then when he like was full force Apocalypse, you're just like.
Yeah.
When it's 2016, you have no excuse for poor storytelling. I could go take a storytelling class for a year and tell a better story than Bryan Singer told.
Shots fired.
Sorry, I mean what I say.
I don't disagree with you. You know what? I'm going to tell you what I think is the problem with this movie.
Tell me.
Days of Future Past was such a success that they wanted to try and piggyback on that success and get this movie out as fast as possible. In order to do that, they sacrificed probably 2 or 3 rewrites on the script. So
That makes total sense.
they got a working script that's like, well, this is a story we can tell. People will just buy tickets. And you know what? They did.
Right.
They made a buttload of money with this movie. You're going to make the fans upset, and then the whole genre is at risk when your core group of fans that have been pining for these movies get pissed off because you're wasting our time. That's when this whole genre dies. So stop it, you son of a bitch.
You give hundreds of millions of dollars to Peter Jackson to take Lord of the Rings and make Lord of the Rings. You don't see him like, hi, I'm Aragorn. That's it. I'm
a human and I'm going to fight an orc.
Yeah, like you literally have like all of the dwarves say their shit like I'm X son of X, and they say all of that stuff because it's in the book and you get to know these characters, and they take the time to do it. They don't say, oh well, we need more CGI here and less talking.
Let's dumb it down because people don't know what this is. You have generations of people that have been following your source material. They know, and if people are in the theater and like they're sitting there and not understanding what's going on because they haven't read it, they're going to
They're gonna go check it.
pretend.
Yeah, well, that
And then when they go home, they're
gonna
going to Google
Wikipedia
it.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
Wikipedia. Like, don't dumb it down because that's the dumbest shit you can do. It's idiotic. Stop doing it. If you do this, you will destroy what I love. So stop destroying what I love. It's mine to protect. You son of a bitch. I'm gonna buy your tickets, but that's not proof that this is working. You have to watch my video to see how mad I am. You son of a bitch. I'm done.
let nerds nerd. Let nerds love the source material. Make it for the nerds, and let mainstream people become nerds because they watch this.
And that's what's happened. Culture has changed. Comic books are in again. There was a 15-year lull
There
where
was.
no one gave a shit about comics, and they're back. The top-selling comic right now is Black Panther.
That's
Think about
true.
that.
Yep.
Insane. Nobody cared about Black Panther, but there's so much buzz around the character when it was announced that there was going to be a movie that comic book sales went through the roof. Iron Man, comic book sales, super low. No one gave a shit about it. Jon Favreau makes Iron Man 1. It's a fantastic movie. Iron Man at that point became the #1 selling comic book series. These movies affect the entire market. You have an effect. So when you don't take the time to make something that's high quality, you just put it out as a cash grab, you're destroying...
F that, dude.
You're biting the hand that feeds you.
Die.
You dumb son of a bitch. And I don't rant usually.
It's a good rant.
Just got so
The
fucking
energy,
mad.
the spirit's in you.
All right.
3 things with Jordan and Paul.
Good or bad, you just top of your head, 3 things. Apocalypse was wasted.
Apocalypse learns everything from touching a TV. What? Seriously?
Charles Xavier lost his hair in the dumbest way.
Havoc lost his life in the dumbest way.
Archangel's death? Unseen?
Apocalypse rallying his 4 horsemen was totally unbelievable and just not... Eh.
So now that we're very depressed and sad, having discussed this movie...
Look, I'm reading the comic book Preacher right now.
So good.
It's the best thing.
That's my favorite series.
Can we end it just by saying, if you hated this movie, go buy the book Preacher,
Please do.
read it, and find out why comic books are amazing.
Yep, either get the 9 graphic novel series or the omnibus.
That's
I'm with this guy. Read Preacher, and when you're done with that, read Watchmen.
Do we know what's dropping next week?
Independence Day is probably the next one we're going to do.
Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, Movie Dudes. Fuck me. Hey guys. Hey. Yeah.
Alright guys, that's it. So thank you very much for tuning in to Movie Dudes. This was the review to watch. Because you watched it. Selling it. Hey guys, thank you so much. That's the end of Movie Dudes forever.
No,
Hey
bye.
guys, that's it from Movie Dudes. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Hey sluts, thanks for tuning in to Slutland.
That works. Whew. It's the hardest part.